Who needs a man when I've got a little battery-powered magic in my nightstand? Somewhere between that second glass of red wine and your nightly rerun of Golden Girls, you've probably thought, ladies, let's be honest for a second. It's okay. I'm not judging. I'm a gynecologist. I've heard it all. But here's the deal. While self-pleasure can be a normal, even healthy part of your life, there's a side no one is talking about. And I mean the emotional side, the hormonal imbalance side, the why can't I feel truly connected with my partner anymore side. You clicked on this video because something deep down is whispering, is this habit helping me or hurting me? Well, don't worry. You're in the right place. I'm Dr. Angela Monroe, your go-to gynecologist here on SeniorSpring Vitality. And today, I'm exposing the 7 hidden costs that excessive or unmindful self-pleasure after 60 can cause, especially when it comes to emotional intimacy, hormone shifts, and yes, even your sense of self-worth. So, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And has this ever crossed your mind? Let's dive in. Let me paint a picture for you. You're in your cozy bed, the lamp's on low, you've got your favourite lavender lotion, the house is quiet, the dog's asleep, the grandkids are nowhere in sight. You reach into your nightstand. Hello again, trusty little friend, and afterward you feel that quick release, that little wave of dopamine, but then silence, a kind of emotional flatness. No warm embrace, no shared heartbeat, no whispering, I love you. Just you, alone. Again. Now hear me out. Self-pleasure isn't evil. It's natural. It's human. But when it becomes your main source of intimacy, especially in your 60s, 70s or beyond, you may start to feel a quiet emotional numbness creep in. And here's why. Your brain is wired for connection, not just stimulation. As women, especially post-menopause, our oxytocin levels, that's the bonding hormone, naturally decline. So we already start life with a little less of that fuzzy love-connectedness. Now throw in solo pleasure that releases dopamine but not oxytocin, and suddenly your body starts getting used to that pattern. Pleasure? Check. Connection? Nah, don't need it. Love? Optional. Intimacy? Too risky. This, my dear, is the silent emotional disconnect. You're tricking your nervous system into thinking this is enough, when deep down, you crave something deeper, warmth, connection, love, intimacy. A hand on your back, a voice whispering your name, a soul beside yours. But Dr. Angela, I've been single for 15 years. What am I supposed to do? Knit and dream? No, honey, I'm not saying stop completely. I'm saying be mindful, be intentional. Ask yourself after, did that feed me emotionally? Do I feel more whole or a little more hollow? Is this a moment of self-love, or am I just filling a gap where love used to live? Because after 60, we don't have time to numb out anymore. We need real nourishment for the body and the soul. Let me tell you about one of my patients. Her name is Martha. She's 68, widowed at 60, sharp as a tack. She told me during one of our appointments, Dr. Monroe, I just don't feel anything anymore. I used to cry during movies. Now, nothing. I even bought this thing online that looks like a lightsaber. It gets the job done, but I feel empty after. Martha wasn't depressed. She wasn't sick. She was numb, emotionally and hormonally, because her body had learned how to press the quick release button, but never the hold me longer button. We worked together on that. We pulled back. She started journaling after each solo moment. She created rituals around intimacy, even if it was just a bath and soft music. And guess what? 3 months later, she called me and said, I watched a rerun of Little House on the Prairie last night, and I cried. I felt something again. Connection. It had returned. Self-pleasure without emotional intention trains your nervous system to detach from connection. Over time, it can lead to emotional flatness, intimacy avoidance, and a loss of deep relational desire. After 60, we need to protect our oxytocin, not just chase dopamine. The goal isn't abstinence, It's awareness and alignment with what your soul truly desires. Let me tell you about Mary, a 67-year-old client of mine who came into my office in a cozy blue cardigan, holding a lavender purse and wearing a quiet look of sadness. She said, "Dr. Angela, I still take care of my needs. I do the self-love thing, but afterward, I feel nothing, just silence. I don't even want to be touched anymore." And it hit me. So many women over 60 are experiencing the same thing, but they think they're the only ones. Let's be real. After a certain age, solo pleasure often becomes a routine. It's like brushing your teeth. You do it because it's part of staying well, not because it's lighting up your soul. But here's what no one tells you. That little moment of pleasure might feel like a quick relief. But over time, it can disconnect you from something much deeper, your desire for real intimacy. When you get used to self-stimulating without emotion, your brain rewires. You start to crave release, not relationship. You feel done, but not held. You orgasm, but don't open up. That's the real cost. Because as women, we are designed, yes, biologically wired, to associate pleasure with connection. Here's what happens biologically. Your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical, when you climax. But with partnered intimacy, especially when there's eye contact, skin-to-skin touch, affection, you also get a rush of oxytocin, the love hormone. Oxytocin builds trust, bonding, and emotional resilience. Solo sessions. Most of the time, oxytocin never shows up, so you start to feel empty. You begin to crave less affection. You may even feel awkward being touched by a man again, because your body is now trained to do it alone, quickly, and without emotional presence. And here's where it gets more serious. Some women even lose interest in dating, cuddling, or rekindling old relationships. Not because they're too old for love, but because they've trained themselves to go numb. It's not your fault. It's what happens when we try to replace emotional intimacy with mechanical release. But the good news is, you can rewire your desire. All right, dear ones, let's talk about mistake number 4, the pitfall of focusing only on the physical. By this I mean treating solo play as just a quick stress buster, without tuning into your feelings or your partner. I've seen this many times. Women like Barbara, 68, who after years of putting everyone first, finally gave herself permission to indulge at night. At first it felt like sweet relief, just what she needed. But over time, Barbara noticed something odd. She felt a little empty afterward, like she'd soothed her nerves but unknowingly pushed away something else. Barbara's story is common. We might not realize it, but ignoring our hearts can turn self-pleasure into a kind of autopilot. Maybe we grew up hearing that only young women should enjoy this, or we're shy about telling our partner. This secrecy can turn into guilt. In fact, medical experts warn that women who feel shame about masturbating may experience worse mood or even depression from that guilt. We're not talking blame. But if you quietly tell yourself, "I shouldn't do this," that whisper of guilt can take the shine off an orgasm and rain on your parade emotionally. I think of a patient who literally said, "I'm so relieved, and then I feel bad. Why?" And we had to gently unpack those ingrained messages. Then there's the relational side. If you have a partner, using masturbation as a replacement for intimacy can pull people apart. One sex therapist put it well. Masturbation in a partnership should be communication, not exclusion. Mary stopped telling her husband what she needed and instead retreated to her room night after night with a toy. Without meaning to, she built a little wall of silence between them. That wall grew thicker because he couldn't read her mind. We know from studies that couples who share their desires tend to have better sex and greater satisfaction. In fact, research found that married women who explore solo pleasure often enjoy more orgasms and feel more satisfied in their relationships. But crucially, when it's part of an open dialogue. Miss those conversations, and self-pleasure can leave your partner wondering, "Am I not enough?" instead of bringing you closer. This is especially poignant after menopause, when intimacy can be a lifeline. As one expert reminds us, we have to consider the whole person, body, mind, relationships, even beliefs, to keep passion alive. Physically, bodies change after 60. Our estrogen tides are low, which means vaginal tissue gets thinner and drier. About 70% of us experience vaginal dryness post-menopause, and many describe unlubricated intimacy as feeling like sandpaper. Now imagine self-pleasuring without proper lubrication or foreplay. It can cause tiny tears, soreness, even infections. Those physical pains can make us subconsciously dread sex or touch, driving a deeper wedge into our emotional life. Honesty. If rubbing feels rough or hurtful, it's easy to skip wanting cuddles or romance, and then the spirit feels lonely too. If we skip gentle build-up, say no lube or not giving ourselves 5 extra minutes to relax, we miss that lovely part of intimacy. There's also what happens when we only chase one type of feeling. Over years, repeatedly tapping yourself out with a stiff rhythm or a powerful vibrator might overstimulate clitoral nerves. The result? Some women notice they need ever stronger sensations to reach orgasm. In the worst case, over time the clitoris can become less responsive, a real condition called clitoral atrophy, where it literally shrinks from lack of blood flow and hormones. It sounds scary, but the fix is simple: variability and care. Using a bit of gentle pressure one day, a vibrator another, taking breaks and definitely using a good water-based lube, all keep the blood flowing and tissues healthy. Let's touch on the spiritual emotional thread. This might sound strange, but a woman's sexuality can be deeply tied to her sense of self-worth and life force. If you treat self-pleasure like popping bubble wrap, just something to do, you miss a chance to really connect with your body's wisdom. It's like reading only the last page of a novel. You get the payoff, but you miss the story. Many women feel a kind of soulful healing in their bodies when they're fully present, a warmth that goes beyond the physical. If we're going through the motions, we might actually be numbing that part of ourselves. And ironically, that can leave us feeling more alone or flat than before. Self-love should feed the soul, not starve it. So in short, mistake number 4 is forgetting that sex is whole person. We attend to the orgasm but skip the intimacy, and that imbalance quietly chips away at us. How to fix it? Well, start by honoring all your needs. Maybe before diving in, do a mini meditation or breathing exercise to center yourself. Use that quality lube I mentioned. It's not just for comfort. Vaginal secretions drop after 60, so we need a little help. Slow down. Involve your senses. Put on a soft light or music if it helps you feel romantic, even if you're alone. And please, talk to someone you trust, a partner, a close friend, even a counselor if you have to. Voicing our desires is scary, but it opens the door to connection. Remember, Dr. Juliana Hauser suggests using self-pleasure as a chance to understand your body better, so you can share that with your partner. It's not about blaming anyone or anything. It's about widening the circle of pleasure and love in your life. And yes, a little pelvic floor exercise during play never hurts. It's literally like toning the muscles behind the scenes. Some rehab programs even use vibrators as pelvic muscle workouts because they can strengthen you and improve bladder control. So here's something to ponder. Are we giving ourselves full care, body and soul? Or are we clipping off half the story and wondering why something feels off? Take Barbara's example. Once she started blending relaxation techniques and even talkie. Ladies, let's talk about emotions. I don't mean mood swings or hormones. I mean the aching kind of loneliness no vibrator can fix. Because here's the truth. Regular solo pleasure might give your body a quick release, but it can also quietly train your brain to stop craving intimacy, real touch, real connection. And that's where things can turn upside down. I had a 66-year-old patient, Elaine, vibrant. She loved her garden and her morning walks, but something was off. She sat in my office, hands clasped, and said, "I don't even want to be with anyone anymore, I just handle it myself." But then she teared up. "Dr. Angela," she said, "I feel numb. I don't miss my ex. I don't miss romance. But I do miss being missed." That hit me. Because what Elaine was describing wasn't just about sex, it was about the emotional muscle we stop flexing when we rely too much on solo satisfaction. You stop practicing vulnerability. You stop making space for someone else's touch, their presence. You stop inviting love in. And here's where the science tiptoes back in. When we self-pleasure alone, especially habitually, it creates a reward loop. Dopamine spikes, oxytocin rises just a little. But without another person there, that oxytocin has nowhere to go. There's no bonding, no eye contact, no shared moment. It's like putting a warm pie in the oven and never sharing a slice with anyone else. Eventually, it just gets stale. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying never self-pleasure. But if that's your only source of sensual satisfaction, week after week, year after year, your heart slowly forgets how to connect. So ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed someone to see you fully? Not just the body part, but the laugh, the eyes, the need. Because sometimes the true cost of solo pleasure isn't physical, it's emotional disconnection, masked by independence. Let's pause, breathe. Now touch your hand, simple, right? But did you feel anything? Warmth, tingling? Or did it feel empty? That little test isn't just cute, it reveals something powerful. It's called touch starvation, and it's more common than we admit, especially in women over 60. When I say touch, I don't mean sex. I mean genuine human connection. A hand on your shoulder, a hug that lingers. The soft brush of fingertips that say, I see you. You see, as we age, people tend to touch us less. We become caregivers, not care receivers. We become strong, not soft. And sometimes we use solo pleasure to substitute for that missing intimacy. But no device, no fantasy, no battery-operated solution can replace being held. There's real science behind this, by the way. Lack of physical affection can raise cortisol, your stress hormone. It can increase inflammation, lower immunity, and even contribute to depression. Meanwhile, positive touch? It reduces pain, regulates your heartbeat, and floods your body with oxytocin, the love hormone. I once met a woman named Joan, 71, widowed, beautiful spirit. She came into my office for hormone therapy, but halfway through the session she whispered, I think my body forgot what a hug feels like. That broke me. And what shocked her most wasn't the loneliness. It was numbness. She thought she was fine, until I told her to try a massage, a dance class, or even a cuddle therapist. And when she did, she cried. Because her skin, her heart, hadn't been touched in years. Touch starvation is real, and it doesn't mean you're weak or needy. It means you're human. So ask yourself, have you gone days, weeks, even months without meaningful touch? Because no matter how independent you are, your body still speaks the language of connection. What if I told you that the body remembers? It remembers the kisses you pretended to enjoy. It remembers the nights you cried quietly after. And yes, it remembers when pleasure became something you had to perform rather than feel. But here's the truth, your body isn't broken. It's just been miswired. But ask yourself, is that your truth, or is that your protection mechanism? Because emotional safety often requires retraining your nervous system to trust others again, to open again, to believe that you are worthy of being touched and loved without performance. And here's the paradox. The more you rely on self-pleasure without integrating emotional vulnerability, the harder it becomes to let someone else in, physically or emotionally. Your body gets used to the quick fix. Your heart forgets how to receive. You become an island, a beautiful island, yes, but still, alone. The solution isn't to stop solo pleasure, it's to bring awareness into it. Ask yourself after, did I feel emotionally nourished or just relieved? Did I touch myself out of boredom or out of love? The goal isn't to give up your independence. The goal is to reclaim emotional aliveness so you can give and receive connection again. So if you've noticed that human intimacy feels more exhausting than exciting, if you've built walls that even you can't climb over anymore, It might be time to pause and reflect. Have I been using solo pleasure to protect myself from intimacy? Because your body can crave release, while your soul still longs for communion. Have you ever had someone tell you they love you, but somehow it didn't land? Like the words floated in the air but never sank into your chest? You nodded. You smiled. Maybe even said, "I love you too." But deep down, you still didn't feel it. Not in your bones, not in your belly, not in your body. Why does this happen? It's more common than you think, especially in women over 60, who've spent a lifetime caring for everyone else, but rarely receive that same softness in return. Here's the truth. When your body gets used to rejection, to being let down, to being the one who holds everyone else together, you stop trusting good things when they arrive. You build an invisible wall, not because you're cold, but because your heart learned to survive. Story of Helen, age 67. Helen was 67 when she told me, "I have a boyfriend. He's kind. He brings me tea every morning. He never raises his voice. But when he says I'm beautiful, I feel nothing." She wasn't broken. She was armored, and she didn't know how to take the armor off. What you can do, start with receiving. You want to feel love again? Don't start with a man. Start with yourself. Can you receive a compliment without deflecting it? Can you ask for help without guilt? Can you let someone see you tired, angry, soft, without apologizing for it? Those are the cracks where real love seeps in. Most older women don't need more love. They need help learning how to receive it again without fear. Receiving is a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. But if you train it, slowly, gently, it opens doors inside you that you thought were closed for good. So the next time someone offers you affection, pause, breathe, and instead of brushing it off, say this to yourself: I deserve this, and I'm learning how to let it in. Masturbation. For some, it's freedom. For others, it's a shame. And for many women over 60, it's confusing. Because something has changed. The sensations, the desire, the meaning behind it, and no one told you this would happen. Jade, 64, put it this way: I used to do it to relieve stress, to feel close to myself. Now, I barely feel anything. It's mechanical, empty. Am I broken? No, Jade, you're not. You're evolving. Some women use masturbation not for joy, but to silence loneliness, to dull anxiety, to avoid vulnerability. So here's the honest truth, my dear. Something that so many women have confessed to me behind closed doors, in whispered tones they barely believe themselves. Now let's wrap our hearts and minds around something powerful, the healing that comes when older women rediscover connection. Not just sexual connection, but emotional, spiritual, and psychological intimacy that feeds the soul. Many older women report a longing not just for orgasm, but for touch that feels seen, for desire that's reflected back through someone else's eyes. And self-pleasure, when disconnected from that emotional richness, can sometimes amplify loneliness rather than ease it. Pleasure is not just a release, it's a reminder that you're still alive, still worthy, still beautiful. So how do we reclaim that beauty? By reimagining intimacy itself. Writing love letters to your own body, the parts you've criticized, the parts you've ignored, the parts that carried children, fought illness, or gave someone comfort. Inviting your partner, if you have one, into deeper conversations about what feels good now, not what used to feel good at 30. If you're single, this isn't a sentence to solitude. This is an invitation to yourself, to rediscover who you are now, what lights you up, what sends sparks down your spine, what makes you laugh while you're naked, because connection starts with presence, and presence leads to pleasure that heals. Even if your body has changed, and it has, even if desire comes in waves, and it will, there's still space for joy, for touch that feels like love, for intimacy that feels like truth. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most exciting part of all. First, Why do things feel so different after menopause? When estrogen declines, a lot of changes happen, and not just hot flashes. Vaginal tissue becomes thinner, lubrication decreases, sensitivity shifts. For some women, this leads to discomfort, dryness, or even pain during intimacy or masturbation. Now, here's where the vibrator steps in. And no, we're not talking about those flashy, Instagram-sponsored gadgets that look like futuristic robots. We're talking about gentle, targeted, doctor-recommended devices. Vibrators can improve blood flow. Just like physical therapy strengthens muscles, low-frequency vibrations stimulate blood circulation in vaginal and pelvic tissues. This can improve elasticity, restore sensation, and even help reduce dryness. They're not just for orgasm. Many women use vibrators purely to maintain vaginal health. It's about keeping tissue oxygenated and healthy, not necessarily climaxing every time. Start small and go slow. Begin with soft, low-intensity devices. Think feather touch, not power drill. Let your body ease into sensation without pressure. Lubrication is your friend. A good water-based lubricant is essential. Don't skip it. Postmenopausal tissue needs that extra support to avoid friction and irritation. Cleanliness is crucial. Wipe down your vibrator thoroughly with warm water and a gentle cleanser after each use. Silicone or medical-grade materials are best. Avoid plastic toys with porous surfaces. Myths to leave behind. I'm too old for that. Nope. There's no expiration date on pleasure. Using a vibrator means I'm broken or alone. Not at all. Many women in relationships use them to enhance intimacy, not replace it. Vibrators numb the body, only if used excessively and without intention. Used mindfully, they can reawaken sensation. Vibrators can help women after menopause reconnect with their body, rewrite their relationship with pleasure, and reawaken parts of themselves that society told them to silence. There's no shame in healing. There's no shame in joy. These are sacred signals, not to be silenced but to be honored. How to process these feelings. 1. Practice aftercare. Yes, aftercare isn't just for couples. After self-pleasure, take a few moments to breathe deeply, hold your own body and affirm yourself. Wrap up in a blanket, light a candle, reconnect with yourself gently. 2. Journal the experience. Try writing how you feel without judgment. Ask, what did this moment teach me? Or, what do I truly crave beyond the physical? 3. Speak with a therapist or counselor. Sexuality is part of mental and emotional health. Don't be afraid to bring it into the therapy room, especially with someone who understands aging and female sexuality. 4. Redefine intimacy. Maybe what you seek isn't orgasm but connection. Consider things like self-massage, sensual music, warm baths, or mindful touch. Pleasure without pressure. With your own body, with your own soul, and with the divine spark that still burns inside you. If you've realized that your habits around self-pleasure, though once helpful, are no longer serving your emotional or physical well-being, you don't need shame. You need a gentle detox. Not the kind you hear about in wellness trends, not about juice cleanses or strict routines. This detox is emotional, mental, even neurological. It's about giving your body and brain space to reset so you can rediscover what real, meaningful connection feels like again. Let me walk you through a 5-day gentle reset protocol I share with many of my senior clients. Day 1. Pause without judgment. Take a break from self-pleasure entirely, not out of punishment, but out of curiosity. Notice when the urge arises. Ask yourself, what am I truly feeling right now? Loneliness? Boredom? Restlessness? Naming the feeling is the first detox step. Day 2. Replace the stimulus. Instead of turning to automatic pleasure routines, replace them with something nurturing. A slow bath. Journaling about what your body's been through over the decades. A walk while listening to calming music or a podcast on connection. This isn't avoidance, It's rechanneling. Day 3. Reconnect with non-sexual sensation. Light a candle. Rub a rich oil into your skin, slowly. Explore the feeling of your own hands without expectation. Feel textures, warmth, breath. Pleasure can come from simple presence. You're teaching your body that it doesn't need intensity. It just needs presence. Day 4. Emotional rewiring. Today, write a letter to your younger self. Tell her how far you've come. Tell her about the wounds you've carried and the strength you've gained. Then ask, what does intimacy mean to me now? Sometimes, emotional release is the most powerful detox of all. Day 5. Set a new intention. You've paused, reflected, felt. Now decide what role self-pleasure should play in your life. Write your new intention on paper. Keep it by your bed. Let that become your compass, not guilt. After 60, many women silently carry the grief of losing a partner, the shock of retirement and identity loss, the quiet ache of an empty home, childhood trauma that was never spoken about. In those moments, the body seeks relief. And self-pleasure, especially with intense tools or quick dopamine release, becomes the band-aid. But here's the hard truth. Numbing isn't healing, it's just a delay. And repeated numbing patterns actually wire your brain to avoid emotional presence altogether. I once had a client in her early 70s, brilliant, warm, elegant. She told me, I use my vibrator every night before bed. Not for desire, but because it's the only thing that stops the sadness from swallowing me. She didn't need less pleasure. She needed more emotional presence, more connection, more grieving space. We worked together to find healthy outlets, grief journaling, storytelling, even support circles. And eventually, she began to reclaim her body for joy, not escape. Ask yourself honestly, am I avoiding something deeper? What emotions rise when I pause the pattern? Is pleasure a tool or a trap right now? This mistake isn't about morality, it's about awareness, because your body remembers everything, and what it truly needs may not be another climax, but another conversation with your heart. And while changes are natural, pain, unusual discharge, itching or burning are not something to ignore. Too many older women say, it's probably nothing. I'm just getting old. I don't want to bother the doctor with this. But here's the truth. Self-diagnosing can delay early detection of infections, atrophy, or even cancer. Here's what to watch for: burning during or after stimulation, spotting or unexpected bleeding, painful tightening or tearing sensations, unfamiliar bumps or lesions, a change in smell, colour, or consistency of fluids. If any of these are happening regularly, don't wait. Don't Google your way into fear or silence. Call your doctor or gynecologist. One woman, 68, told us she had sharp vaginal pain for weeks after using a new vibrator. She assumed it was just age and pushed through. It wasn't. It was a micro tear that led to infection. Had she gone in earlier, she would have avoided months of discomfort. Self-pleasure should never cause ongoing discomfort. And if something changes suddenly, get it checked. You are not being dramatic, you are being wise. Your health matters, even if you're not sexually active with a partner. Your body is still sacred, still deserving of care, still worthy of expert attention. Never let shame or age keep you from prioritizing your health. Your 60s, 70s, and 80s can be full of pleasure, but only when your body is safe, supported, and seen. Mistake number 1, treating the body like it's still 30. Your hormones, tissues, and needs have changed. Your approach must evolve too. Mistake number 2, using outdated or unsafe tools. Old toys can harbour bacteria or deliver unsafe stimulation for aging tissue. Mistake number 3, avoiding lubrication or using the wrong kind. Dryness is common after menopause, and the wrong lube can cause irritation or infection. Mistake number 4, rushing or forcing pleasure. Your body now needs more time, intention, and gentleness. This is not a race. Mistake number 5, overstimulating the same areas repeatedly. Too much focus on one spot, especially the clitoris, can desensitize or cause discomfort over time. Mistake number 6, letting shame or old beliefs sabotage pleasure. You are not too old for intimacy. Your body is still worthy of pleasure and love. Mistake number 7, ignoring when something feels off. Pain, discomfort, or changes in your vaginal health need professional attention, not silence. If you saw yourself in one or more of these mistakes, you're not alone. The solution isn't guilt. The solution is gentle correction, more awareness, more self-compassion, and better support from both your healthcare and your inner dialogue. Because at 60, 70, 80, pleasure isn't just possible, it's powerful. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress, and honoring the body you live in today, not the one you had decades ago. Self-pleasure after 60 isn't wrong. It's not shameful. In fact, it can be a beautiful part of your wellness and emotional balance, when done with awareness, care, and respect for your evolving body. So, if this message spoke to you, if you learned something new or simply felt seen and heard, subscribe to this channel. This is a safe space.